Hey, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. We're talking about the moon today. We call this Moon Quest because there's so many interesting things about the moon that we can do here and learn some science about what's going on up there at the moon. So when I go outside at night and it's a nice clear night and I see the big moon out there, I look at the face of the moon and I see what I think it looks almost like a face looking at me. But those are really craters. So today our first experiment is going to be about craters. And what are craters all excuse me, what are craters all about? What is the surface of the moon like? So today, if you have some flour and a big pan and some rocks or marbles or little balls, I got some rocks and I got some marbles too, we're gonna make some craters. I also, and I don't think I put on this on a supply list, but it'll help me on camera show you my craters better if I color them with with hot chocolate. They'll be darker instead of lighter. So I am going to get started here. Let's turn my camera back to the tabletop so that you can see what's doing, and I hope you guys can do this along with me. Here we go. There's my pan. And so I'm taking my flour and I'm going to dump some in, just like this. And I'm going to dump a bunch in so it fills the whole bottom of my pan. Like that. Woohoo! So we're going to make some craters here. Now I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. Now what's really cool about the moon is there's no atmosphere. You know, like the Earth has all the air that we breathe, and then the wind blows around. And so the wind really changes the surface of the Earth a lot. But on the moon, there's no air, there's no atmosphere. So anything that happens on the surface of the moon stays there for a really long time. Okay, now I got flour all over my hands. That's kind of fun too. Okay, so I smoothed out my moon. And so now I'm gonna make it a little darker so you can see my craters better by putting some hot chocolate. You guys might not have the hot chocolate, but that's okay because you're right there. You can see your craters up close. So I'm gonna sprinkle some hot chocolate on top. Oh boy, this is pretty cool looking. All right. Hot chocolate so my craters will show up. Oh, I got some lumpy hot chocolate. That's pretty cool. What do you think? Maybe that's the surface of the moon. So have you got your rocks ready? How are you guys doing? Oh, I see some of you guys working. I see your pan. Good job. Okay. All right, so I have some marbles and I have some rocks. Okay. And this is what we're going to do. You can't see, but I'm holding it up high. I'm holding it high above my pan. Are you guys ready? Oh, you guys have some hot chocolate too. Cool. All right, I'm holding my rock right high above my pan, and I'm going to drop it. And you on camera are going to see it hit my moon surface. So ready, 1, 2, 3, I'm dropping a rock. Boom. Oh, good. All right, now I'm going to pick up the rock gently and look at my crater. Whoa, check it out. Can you see how there's the deep circle? And then it kind of sprays to the side. You see a lot of that when you look at the moon with telescope. Okay, I've got another littler rock. Let's see, let's do the little rock. And I'm gonna drop it right on the pan, over above the pan. Are you guys ready to drop a rock? 1, 2, 3, boom. Oh, cool. All right, I'm gonna pick up the rock a little bit at a time. There we go. And now let's see what happens if I drop a marble. You might have a lot of different maybe size balls or things that you can drop. I've got rocks, I've got marbles. I even have a ping pong ball, which I'm going to drop in a minute too. So here we go. Here's my marble. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Kablam! Oh, that was a good one. I got a second bounce out of that. Whoa. There we go. Look at that. All right, I think it's time for my ping pong. Wait, you know what? I got one more little tiny marble. Let's try that. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, boom. Huh, that went deep, actually. And now I'm gonna try my ping pong ball and see what happens. I have a ping pong ball. All right, over here on this side, maybe 1, 2, 3, poof. Boy, that didn't roll very much, did it? Whoa! So there we go. So the moon's the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so it can't protect it from asteroids, which are like rocks hitting the moon's surface up in space. So the moon gets lots and lots of asteroid hits, and lots of craters are formed because of that. And you guys just made some craters too. All right, so that's one of the things that I really wonder about when I look at the moon when I go outside at night. What are those craters for sure, really? The next thing that I wonder about is sometimes when I look at the moon, it's big and bright and round. Sometimes when I look at the moon, it's just a little sliver. And I see it sometimes even during the day. So I have a little experiment for us. And I don't remember if I put this on the supply list, but I have a pie pan. I have a little bit of Play-Doh, and I have more marbles and my ping pong ball, and we're going to talk about how the moon rotates around the Earth. So take out your Play-Doh if you have it, and roll it into a ball. Now, I'm going to roll it and roll it and roll it, and this is going to be my Earth, and I'm going to put it in the middle of my pie pan. Okay. And I'm going to stick it right in the middle. Can you see how I'm doing that? I'm going to push it down so it's kind of flat. Oops, it won't stay in the middle. Okay, there we go. Oh, my Earth is kind of funny shaped. Okay. All right, so that's what I'm doing with my pie pan. Now, that's the Earth. And so the first thing I'm going to do is use my ping pong ball as the moon, and I'm going to try to roll. Whoa, you know what? I'm going to go to the table again so that you can see this up close, because I can roll it better on the table. Here we go. We're going to talk about rotation. All right. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Did it again, rats. Here we go. There we go. I got it. Okay, there's the craters. And I'm going to set those to the side. And then I'm going to put my pie pan in the center so you can see it with my Earth, my ping pong ball, and let's watch the moon rotate around the Earth. There we go. I'm just rolling my pie pan just a little bit. And that's what's happening up there. So if I were a person on the Earth right there, and as the moon rotates around the Earth, I couldn't always see the same view of the moon. There we go. Ta-da! So we're rolling around. Woo! Around and around. So that's what's happening to the moon up there, up in the sky. Very cool. Now, yeah, so we get a different view of the moon every time we look up at the sky at night. And the different views of the moon are called phases. So I'm going to come back to the FaceTime camera and show you my big display behind me. And we're going to build that together. Okay, so there's my felt board. And, whoops, I got to get out of the way so you can see the sun. There you go. Okay. Okay, good. See my sun? All right, so we're going to build a model of what the moon is doing up there and how the sun and the Earth and the moon create the different views of the moon that we see that are called phases. So I have a moon. No, I have an Earth right here. I also have a moon too, but first we're going to talk about day and night. There's the sun, and so the Earth is out here in space. You can see that. And I'm sticking it to my black night sky. And you can see how half of my Earth is lit up by the sun, and that's the daytime side. And the other half is dark, and that's the nighttime side. Okay, but the moon is always there somewhere around the Earth. Remember how we moved that pie pan and the moon was going around the Earth? So somewhere that moon is around the Earth. So now if you have some pieces of paper, whoops. I have some down on the side here. I have a very small den, and so I have things on the side that you can't see on screen. So if you have a piece of paper, and if you have something that you can draw a circle with, I have just a can, and I'm going to use that can to make a circle on my piece of paper. In fact, I'm going to do 8 of them, but I'll just do 4 right here at the beginning. I am drawing a circle on my piece of paper, and I'm going to cut out quite a few. I can cut out quite a few at the same time. See, there's my circle, and I'm going to cut that out, cut a bunch out. And we're going to use our paper as the moon, and we are going to build some phases. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm cutting out my circle. I'm cutting out my moon. And the first phase of the moon that I am going to talk about is the full moon, because that's the one I like to look at a lot out at night. So on my board, let's talk about the full moon. All right. So I'm going to stick it to my board back here. There's the sun, there's the Earth. Now, if I looked up into the sky and I saw the full moon, where would I put this circle? How would that look? Okay, so the sun is shining on the Earth and making it daytime. And of course, I'm looking at the moon and it's nighttime, and the moon is full. So I am going to put my full moon right. I'm going to color my moon here a little bit. Okay, I divided my moon to look like the Earth, so half of it is facing the sun and half of it is not. So there's my Earth. There's my Earth. There's my moon. And look, here's the sun shining on the daytime side. And here I am looking at the moon at night. And look, I see the whole side of the moon is lit up nice and bright. Okay. So now sometimes I go out at night and I don't see any moon at all. And we call that the new moon. The new moon. We can't see a moon at all. So what's happening with that? Let's take a look. The new moon. Oops, we'll put that up here. So what's happening with my circle if I don't see any moon at all? And if you have a circle, you could color it all in nice and dark because we can't see it. So what's happening with the new moon is it's daytime, probably, the side that we see. And I'm coloring my moon in. That dark side of the moon is facing us. And it's right there. Whoops, I gotta put some tape on so it'll stick to my board. So the new moon is right there. So there we are. And the moon rolls around and around and around the Earth. It rotates. So it goes this way. Uh-oh, what did I do? I stuck it wrong. I have a whole bunch of tape. There we go. There. So we don't see any moon when it's the new moon, and we see whole moon, it's a full moon, and they're directly opposite for each other. There we go. There's the full moon over here. And there's a lot of different moons in between that we see. We see a crescent moon, and one called a gibbous, and one called a quarter. So, yeah, there we go. So what we're going to do next is make a craft that will show you some of the other views of the moon that we have. And I'm going to switch to my my tabletop, and we're going to make kind of a puzzle that will show us the rest of the phases of the moon. So let me do that. Switch in my camera, and this is what you're going to need. How are you guys doing? All right. So there I've got my tabletop again, and to do this, we're going to need some aluminum foil, a bowl to make a circle with. I always like to use bowls as round things. Couple of pieces of paper, maybe some construction paper, maybe some black construction paper or some purple, nice dark color, and some tape. So this is what we're going to do. This is what it's going to look like. Does that look like a moon? I'm going to show you how to put this together, and then we'll show you how to make the other different phases of the moon. Oops, here we go. That might look something. There's a new moon. There's a crescent moon. And there's the full moon. So we'll put that together. So the first step into making our moon phase puzzle is getting a sheet of paper, and I used white, but you don't have to. And I put it down, and I turn over my bowl, and I am making a big circle all around my bowl, right in the center of my piece of paper. And this is kind of the harder part to do, because you're going to need the scissors to cut it out with. And if you have trouble cutting it out, what I like to do is just take the point of my scissors and wiggle, 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 wiggle until it comes through the paper. And then I snip, 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 and then it starts to get easier because I can get the whole blade of my scissors around. So if you're having trouble with that, you can have an adult cut it for you. But there is my first cut. There we go. Now I have a hole in my piece of paper. So then with the next piece of paper that I have, I am going to cover it with aluminum foil. Oh, I hope you have a glue stick. I forgot to tell you about the glue stick. I'm going to cover this piece of paper with some aluminum foil. To do that, I am going to put a whole bunch of glue all over this piece of paper. Are you guys working hard? I bet you are. Okay. Okay, so now I got a whole bunch of glue all over this piece of paper. And I'm going to take aluminum foil. First, I'm going to squeeze it a little bit, and then I'm going to pull it apart. That kind of makes the bumpy surface of the moon. This is going to look like the moon. And I'm spreading it out all over the glue, like that. There. Now I'm going to turn it over and fold it over the edge like so. And if you have some tape around, I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't come off. Now the glue will help hold it a little bit, but a little bit of tape on each edge will help too. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces of paper, one with a hole in it and one that's all silver because I covered it with aluminum foil. And now I'm going to put them together. Oops, like that. Now I can either do that with some tape or I can staple it. And I'm only going to staple it or tape it on one edge. And I have a stapler, but tape works as well. And I'm just going to staple it in the corner. Whoops. And in the middle, and in the side. Or if you don't have a stapler and you just have tape, just take and tape it right across the top. Like this. I'm stapling and taping. It's really going to last a long time. Okay, there we go. So there's our moon. So how are we going to make the phases? Well, if you have a dark sheet of paper, I have either purple or black. We're going to make something that looks like this. Whoops. See how it's rounded on one edge and it's flat on the back? So how did I do that? Well, do you remember the piece that I cut out for the middle? That's what I'm going to use as my pattern, and I'll show you how I did this. Okay, so I took my dark piece of paper. Let me get my moon out of the way because that's kind of distracting. Okay, there's my dark piece of paper. And I took the center of what I cut out of the other piece of paper and I put it right over to the edge. See, like that? Then I took my marker or my pencil and I went like this, until I got to the top of the, whoops, you can't see, to the top of the circle right there. And then I just draw a straight line over here. So there's one edge. There's another edge. And so then I'm just going to cut along that straight line over to the top of my circle, around my circle. I don't need it anymore because I drew a line. And over there. And I don't need it so long because it would get in the way. So I'm going to cut about have something that looks like that. So let's make the phases of the moon. This is kind of a cool puzzle. All right, let's make the phases of the moon. There's my phase maker. I'll call it a phase maker. And there's my moon with the staples at the top. Let's get this on camera good. My staples are at the top. And now let's make a new moon, a moon that you can't see in the sky. A moon like this. Oops, you can't see that. I just pointed to the new moon on my chart. Okay, but here's the new moon. Let's make a new moon. There it is. You can't see the new moon. All right, so what happens after the new moon? The moon goes around the earth a little bit farther and the sunlight hits it and the side facing us starts to show, and there's a crescent moon. When the moon gets bigger and bigger, they call it waxing. And after that crescent gets a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger, they call it a waxing gibbous. Whoa, see how you can see most of it? And then have you ever looked in the sky and you saw that it was just half a moon? They called that the first quarter. So after the gibbous is a quarter. Sometimes you'll see a moon like that. So you can take your phase maker and move it so you see half a moon. And then that gets bigger and bigger, and then you see the full moon. Wow. Then after a while, that full moon starts to get smaller and smaller. And so from the other side, you can use your phase maker and starts to get smaller and smaller. So there's the gibbous, but it's always on the other side. There's the half, and there's the crescent. There we go. So you just made a moon phase making puzzle. We hope you had a good time with that. All right. So those are our projects today. Here's something that you can do after the experience. So you can go out, every time you go out and look at the moon, you can draw a picture of it. So if you want to make your own moon journal, if you have some pieces of paper, you can fold them in half and you can make your own moon journal book. Okay, and each one of these is a page. So you put about, let's see, 8 of them together. No, 10 of them together. Then you'll have 30. And every night you go out and look for the moon, and you can draw a circle with a can or something on each page and draw a picture of what the moon looks like to you. Fill in the circle, just like I did here, with maybe you'll see a new moon, maybe you'll see a full moon, maybe you'll see a quarter that's starting to get bigger. So you can make a little book out of just folding some sheets of paper in half. So that's something to do after you're done, if you want to go out and take a look at the moon each night. And you can also make a cover for it, maybe out of a piece of construction paper. And you can decorate your cover and put your name on it, and it'll be your moon journal. Okay, so that's all the projects that I have for today. Hope you had some fun doing it, and we hope you'll love making craters. And join us again next time. I saw something I had never ever seen before. And here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? Okay, so now how are we gonna paint the pine cones? Maybe 3 pine cones. What do you think? Yeah, 3 pine cones. And then the fun starts. What's happening here? Well, when we pull back on our little shooter here, that creates potential energy, and then when I let it fly, it turns that potential energy into kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion.